In this video, I'm going to go into all the juicy details of what happened to me in my out-of-body experience after 70 hours of meditation. It's an experience that happened for 4 days continuously after. Towards the end of this video, I'm going to tell you exactly what I saw, and I promise you it's going to be worth waiting for. So let's get into it. Hey everyone, my name is Ben. Welcome to my channel. I have been meditating since I was about 6 years old, or at least I got introduced to meditation when I was 6 years old. My dad was a meditation teacher, and I got trained by his teacher and him, and all the way through until now really. I'm 30 now, so I've been surrounded by meditation, spirituality. The whole topic has been a big part of my life. So I had a real desire to want to develop in my meditation practice and have some kind of experience, have some kind of certainty, because although I'd had lots of good experiences, I hadn't had anything really profound, really kind of out there. And so I was speaking to my meditation teacher on the phone one day, and I was sort of saying to him, everything's going really well, meditation's going really well, it's going okay at least, but I've not had anything profound yet. I need that kind of certainty. Although I know everything theoretically and I have had lots of experiences, I've not had that kind of absolute, mind-blowing experience. And so I was talking to him like this, and by the end of the conversation, the end of the phone call, he said, "That's it, I've decided it's going to happen for you." And then when he put the phone down, before he put the phone down, he said, "I'll see you on the higher planes." And I kind of laughed it off, but there had been many situations prior to this happening throughout the years where he's shown me through his actions really that he's in many places at once. He's very advanced, and he's kind of beyond what most of us can really perceive. He's just at a totally different level. And so he said this, and part of me was thinking, yeah, that sounds a bit ridiculous, and another part was thinking, I wonder if he will. I wonder if this will happen. And so anyway, I kind of put it to one side, and a few weeks later I'd booked myself on a 10-day Vipassana meditation retreat. So it's a silent meditation retreat. You go there for 10 days, you can't talk to anyone, it's totally silent. You wake up every morning at 4 a.m. and you basically meditate for 10 hours a day, every single day, seated on the floor. There's loads of other bits to it. You eat 2 meals a day. You're not allowed any electronics, no phones, no nothing. So it's a real monk-like retreat. The difference was that because I've been meditating for a long time, and I don't mean this to come across arrogantly or in a way where I sound like I know everything, because I know there's so much for me still to learn. But I went with kind of idea that I wanted to delve deeper into the practices that I had already been doing for many years. So although I was interested in learning what this retreat had to teach me, and I did learn lots, I practiced my own methods of meditation whilst I was there. And it's not something that I'd recommend, it's just because of my background that I was kind of guided that way, and I chose to do it that way. But I wouldn't really recommend that for someone who's new to meditation or decides to go on this kind of retreat, unless they've got a good background and a good reason to do it that way. And also I have a real strong connection with the divine. It's a big part of my spiritual practice, is connecting and establishing a deeper, stronger relationship with the divine, or with God, or whatever you want to call it. So I was doing lots of other things whilst I was on this retreat, mantra, inner conversations with the divine. I was just establishing and strengthening that relationship. And whilst I was there, I was kind of working towards trying to progress in the practice and go deeper and deeper in the meditation. And I was, and as the days went on, I felt better and better, and my mind was getting unbelievably quiet. I went into the meditation retreat in a very good place. I was meditating for 40 minutes a day leading up to it, and so reasonable amount, and I had been for years. But this was another level. I was starting to go deeper and deeper. Then on day 7, I sat down to do the meditation, and weirdly my legs started to go numb, or at least I thought they were going numb, and I was like, that's really weird. Why are my legs going numb? I've only just sat down. And then I wiggled my toes, and I was like, oh no, I can feel them perfectly fine. And then as soon as I tuned back into my breathing, my legs seemingly went invisible. It just felt like they weren't there, literally like I'd had general anesthetic. Then I started just following my breathing. This was all happening as I was following my breathing. And then my awareness really just went into a laser-like focus onto my breath, all within the space of maybe 30 seconds. No conscious effort, or any more so than I would normally give in a meditation. You try to follow the breathing. occasionally the mind wanders and things like that. But in this situation, my mind, it didn't move a millimeter. It was absolutely laser-like focus on the breath, more so than I've ever experienced in all the years that I've meditated. And my breath became incredibly shallow, really, really shallow, just like the slightest of inhalation and exhalation. And to the point where I thought, I wonder if I'm actually breathing enough to sort of stay conscious. I feel like I'm going to pass out, like I'm not breathing enough. But equally, as that thought arose, I felt totally comfortable, felt totally natural. I wasn't forcing it, it was just happening that way. And then as this progressed, I started to feel a bit of an energy build up. And my hands were in a mudra, which is for anyone that doesn't know, it's a hand position, of which there are loads of different types you can pick. But my hands were in a particular mudra, and my eyelids started to flicker a little bit, and my fingers started to twitch, and I felt this build up of energy. And all within, almost like the flick of a switch, a huge, enormous surge of energy just poured through me, and it felt as though energy was pouring through a hose pipe size like that, throughout my entire body. It just felt like it was coursing through my body. And it was a variation of like electricity, energy, weird concoction of different things that were circulating around me. Unbelievably real. It wasn't like it was in my head, it was like I could totally feel it for just pouring out of me. It was really overwhelming in a way, but in a positive way at that point. And as that happened, so as my awareness narrowed in on my breath, as the energy started to release, my body was at the same time becoming invisible. So I lost total awareness of my legs, I lost total awareness of my torso, and eventually lost full absolute awareness of my body. So it felt like I'd had a general anesthetic. Honestly, it was so realistic. I can't get across to you how realistic it was. It wasn't just like a little dream or a little psychological trip like you'd have on shrooms, or like just sometimes you can have these psychological kind of phenomena happen in meditation and stuff like that. This was totally different. This was like the most real thing I've ever experienced. My body totally disappeared, and obviously it was here, but my awareness of it totally vanished. Couldn't feel it whatsoever. And as that happened, my consciousness expanded, and it continued to expand as if I was traveling through space. And again, this was more realistic than our physical reality. It was bigger than our physical reality. As I expanded into the consciousness, and as this consciousness continued to expand, my consciousness continued to expand, and I was traveling. I could feel myself traveling through different planes. I could feel my subtle bodies being more and more refined and lighter. I was suddenly overcome with the sheer magnitude of this kind of entity. It's the only way I could describe it. It's very hard to articulate, but this entity that was there, which was just, it made me feel like that. It made me feel like an ant must feel to this planet Earth. Just incomprehensible how big this entity was. And it wasn't like it was a physical body or a shape. It was just an energy, just a total energy that was overpowering. Not in a negative way, but in a way that was just awe-inspiring, and being like, Jesus, the sheer magnitude of this thing. And with that, eventually I came back down into my physical body, because actually what was happening is my mouth was filling up with saliva as I was meditating, so I had to keep coming back into my body to swallow this saliva and then tune into the breath and go up again, because I felt like I was going to choke on my own saliva. What I have come to realise since then is that this is a very clever way that the ego tries to interfere with your progression. So the ego is like your inner I, the part of us that we think we actually are. And that doesn't, as we expand and grow in a spiritual way, there's less and less need for the ego. So it will try to interfere with your spiritual progression as you delve into things like meditation and spirituality and self-knowledge. Your ego will fight to put you off to some degree. And it does work through the physical body. As kind of out there as that sounds, the ego will work through your physical body. And so mine was working through it in the way of creating lots and lots of saliva in my mouth, so I had to keep swallowing that. But yeah, as I was in this altered state of consciousness, when I could come in and out of my body just like that, you know, as far as I went into this consciousness, as deep as I went, I was connected to my body at all times, so I could come in and out in an instant. But I had to control it. I had to learn to control the coming in and out of my body, because if I came in too quickly, as weird, this sounds really weird, but I would kind of jolt forward. So I had to control myself to come in slowly so that I didn't jump or anything, because I was meditating in a hall with like 100 people, I think 80 to 100 people if I remember right. And I was on a kneeling stool, so I was quite high up. So I was very aware that I didn't want to like jolt or jump or like do anything weird to create a scene, because everyone was totally dead silent in this meditation hall. And yeah, anyway, I was coming in and out of my body maybe 5, 6, 7 times throughout this meditation, just totally mind blown, totally enjoying and lapping up this experience. Energy was still soaring through my whole body as this was happening, and I was, as I say, in this totally different state of consciousness. And eventually the meditation came to an end. So it was an hour-long meditation that happened after about 5 minutes. So I carried on in that way for like 55 minutes and literally was coming in and out of my body and having this experience and just enjoying it. And at the end I was like, oh, unbelievable. Like, want to tell everyone, but obviously I can't, because we're on a silent meditation retreat, and also it's not always appropriate to do that. We had one more meditation left that day, and I wondered whether this experience was a one-off or whether I'd kind of unlocked a door to another part of myself that I'll be able to keep opening and keep going through. To my surprise, that was the case, and I was able to do the exact same thing in the next meditation, and the following morning I did the exact same thing, and basically for the next probably 4 or 5 days I could do that same thing. So every single time I went to sit down and meditate, my body would begin to go invisible. The only difference was from this point on was that I didn't have that initial energy surge. That was a one-off thing. But the residue from that energy was still circulating around my system for probably the next 4 days or so. I could feel energy and little streams of electricity coming through and off of my hands. The purpose really of this video is that it gave me certainty. It gave me certainty that I'm not actually this physical body or this mind. I'm spirit. I've known this for years that that's what we are, but I hadn't had the direct experience of it until now. And so I want to share this with you so that you know you are spirit. This body that you think is yours, or you may think is yours, is just a vehicle. It's just a vehicle for you to experience life at the moment. So moving on from this, I called my meditation teacher up straight away and told him, like really excited on the phone, you wouldn't believe what happened. In fact, I didn't even say it like that. I was like, what happened? Because I knew he would know. And it kind of occurred to me, and I was being reminded of the conversation that we had a few weeks prior where he said, I'll see you on the higher planes. And the first thing that he said when he answered the phone was, we had a great time up there, didn't we? And I was like, yeah, like that gave me certainty that he is advanced as I thought he was, and that entity that I felt overpowered by, or I felt tiny in comparison to, that was him. Like, he met me up there. He showed me his true nature, his true identity, the energy or the essence that is him. I was just mind blown. To tell this story on a camera and to share this with the world, I know that people are going to watch this and be like, yeah, bullshit, that's not the case. But I can only tell it as it happened, which is what I'm doing. And I can promise you that's what was said. That's what he said after. This is the experience that happened, and it was certainly him, and he is that advanced as a teacher. And a lot of the knowledge, all of the knowledge in fact that I've got, stems from him. Like, people sometimes ask me, where did you learn all this stuff? And it's like, well, I was from like 6, 7 years old, I was surrounded by a very advanced teacher alongside my dad. So that kind of topped off the experience. But it was an incredible experience, gave me a lot of certainty, and I really hope that it inspires you in your journey. If you've just started meditation, if you're someone that has been meditating for a long time, or if you're interested in the spiritual aspects of life and everything else, then I can tell you for certain that there is more, and you can access it. You just have to put in the work, you have to put in the effort to do it. So I'm going to be putting out more videos on meditation techniques and how to delve into deeper states of consciousness in your meditation, and loads of topics surrounding spirituality as a whole. So if you're interested in that, if you like this video and you like more videos, you'd like to see more videos along those lines, then please do like this video and subscribe to my channel. It really helps to promote this video to more and more people, and hopefully I'll see you on the next one.